And welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We were talking to the Clackamas County Board of Commissioners business meeting, March 3rd, Tootie's birthday, we call it, 2016. I'd like Mr. Krupp, our county administrator, to call the roll.
Certainly, and of course, we're joined this morning with Mr. Chris Story, representing County Counsel's office, and then our clerk of the board, Mary Rathgate. Commissioner Bernard. Here. Commissioner Smith. Here. Commissioner Savitz.
Here.
Commissioner Schrader.
Here.
Chair Ludlow.
Here, you all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we have a video today, and we think you'll enjoy it. The county is pushing our message about the employment land challenges we're facing. But we all realize that the issue itself can be a little complex, especially for people new to it. I'd like now to share a video the county has produced as part of our outreach around our need for employment lands. As you'll see, it introduces a concept of urban growth boundary and reiterates how this board is seeking solutions to the problem facing the county today. Again, this is a video produced by our professionals here, and we'll see how you like it. Mary?
Clackamas County is the best of both worlds. Situated in the heart of the Portland metropolitan area, our county is home to several leaders of industry. We couple this with our magnificent natural resources of undeveloped and agricultural land that allows us all to enjoy the patches of earth we call home. As communities grow and populations increase, more land is needed for businesses to provide jobs and keep the local economy moving. The Clackamas County area faces a critical shortage of land for businesses or employment lands for our long-term supply. Employment land planning allows for communities to prepare for future infrastructure needs and help shape the region, all while protecting farmland and forests. Land planning areas are determined by the Portland area's Urban Growth Boundary, or UGB. The UGB is drawn by Metro with cities and counties and separates urban land from rural land. This is what the UGB looks like. Outside of the UGB, Metro and county governments like Clackamas County help determine both urban reserves, which are lands designated to accommodate urban development during the next 50 years, and rural reserves, which are lands that are high-value working farms and forests with important natural resources like rivers, wetlands, and floodplains, and will be protected from urbanization for at least 50 years. Oregon state law mandates that cities and metropolitan areas have land use planning in place to control urban expansion onto farm and forest lands. In 2010, Clackamas County government agreed with Metro and others that the Stafford area, nestled between Lake Oswego, West Lynn, and Tualatin, should be an urban reserve. But a successful court appeal recently led to the remand of the Stafford area designation. The remand remains unresolved. Clackamas County's regional and strategic priorities are very different than in 2010, and the landscape has changed greatly. Clackamas County wants to reassess its situation. It's now been 6 years since the last UGB expansion was agreed to. Clackamas County needs more employment lands. The Clackamas County Board of Commissioners is committed to exploring the best options for now in 2016, not then in 2010. We're acting in the best interests of our residents, businesses, and stakeholders by trying to determine suitable employment lands. Find out more by logging on to clackamas.us and clicking on the Land to Grow Jobs logo.
Well, I think that was very well done. That's the first time I've seen it. Again, the county has a shortage of approximately 1,100 acres, and we've paid for a study to prove that, of industrial development or job-producing lands. You can learn more about this important topic by checking out our Land to Grow Jobs webpage for full information. That's off of our front page at www.clackamas.us. Also, this video was shared yesterday via the county's monthly e-newsletter. You can sign up to receive that, or you can sign up for weekly email notifications about this board's upcoming actions by clicking on Get Email Updates in the footer of any page on our website. Commissioners, any comments?
So how is this made available then? Is it mostly through the e-newsletter, YouTube, or what's the delivery?
Well, I'm not sure, but I think that if you really look on YouTube, you can find almost anything we've ever done. I mean, they put everything on there, Tootie.
Martha, they post them on Facebook all the time.
Okay, because what I'm thinking is, as we talk to people, and they're asking us various questions as we go through this, this season of what we're all in, that this would be something to direct people to in a way that is very clear and explanatory about why we see a need. So this is really a nice video.
It is, it's excellent.
So again, that you can, again, off of our webpage, clackamas.us, you go to Land to Grow Jobs, and you'll see everything they've got on that. Commissioner Bernard?
Yeah, actually, if you just search it on Google, it goes right to
Oh, did you find it?
video. Yeah. I think my only comment is that it's sort of a shame to show how beautiful it is, like, and the forests and the farmland, like, this is where we're going to have our homes and our jobs. I mean, in the mountain, that one view, I'd love to have that view. But, Clackamas County is beautiful. And it is beautiful because we have preserved some of that. But I don't disagree that we need to make sure we had an adequate supply of industrial or employment land. So, I think it's a good video. I mean, it definitely says Clackamas County is one beautiful place to live.
That definitely says that, I agree. Commissioner Savas?
Yeah, I just thought it was a nice video. It would have been nice to have a little bit more emphasis perhaps on, we all know it's about jobs, but emphasis or pointing out the fact that our population is growing far faster than we are accommodating jobs or being able to grow jobs. So it's a recipe for this region for greater unemployment and perhaps poverty if we don't grow the jobs in proportion to the way the population is growing. And that's the crisis we have, and it's showing up in the employment numbers or unemployment numbers, and it's also showing up in the cost of housing because we're now competing and we're having rents just go through the roof because there's limited amount of supply of housing. So there's our consequences to not having the appropriate amount of land for both employment and making the best use of the land we have for housing as well, and protecting all those assets that Jim spoke to.
Agreed. The fact in Performance Clackamas, I believe it says the future prosperity of our county will be built on good-paying jobs, affordable housing, and capital investment. Well, that was our presentation for the day. It's time for citizens' communication, and we have two cards here. We have Steve Johnson and Brian Johnson. Well, we have two chairs, so come on up.
Are you guys related?
From Gladstone, that's what I thought when I saw the card.
It's kind of an uncommon name, Johnson. Isn't it?
Very unusual last name.
All right. So I went to the sewer meeting the other night, which a couple of you were there. It's obviously a train wreck. You agree?
We're not going to comment on that.
Well, I mean, we've been at this for a year and have gotten nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. And my point is, I mean, pretty soon, you might as well have Holiday and them sit in this room and sit in your chairs. Because you might as well just tell them either you have the power and you are going to do it, and what's the point of having, because they think you're having this regional advisory committee that they're advising to you, and they think they have some power, but if they don't really have any power, you might as well just say they're like a token committee or the PTA or whatever, because you're just getting them all mad at each other. They just sit there and argue with each other for a year. Because I'm basically going to be paying about $8,000 a month in sewer between those two plants, because I'm in both of them. Okay, so that's with the sewer. Now the roads. I have no problem paying for road maintenance. I'd write you a check today. It doesn't matter to me if we do vehicles or if we do gas. I have vehicles, I have gas. You're not going to win with that, because some people are going to complain they don't burn any gas. So my problem is road maintenance compared to when you say safety projects or projects. If you're going to go down and you're going to give Randy Harmon $5 million to lay pavement, I'll back you 100%. But if you're going to send my $5 million over to the building across the way, and they're going to do jobs like Barlow Zimmerman, where we spend $2.5 million on a flawed project, that I gave Don the actual police report of an accident there within a month of being done, and the lady said she could not see the car coming, which is the same thing it's been ever since the beginning because of the hill. So we spent $2.5 million. How many landowners did we trespass on when we built Barlow Zimmerman? Don?
I can't tell the answer to that question.
Let me rephrase it. Do you acknowledge the fact that we trespassed on landowners' land building Barlow
Hey,
Zimmerman?
Brian, you know, we're not going to have a Q&A with either our legal staff or our county administrator.
So I have to do that by like a form of
send me a
information
letter.
request?
You send me a letter, I'll give it to Mr. Krupp, and he'll answer your questions. Or you can send him a letter yourself. He's pretty open to that kind of stuff.
Well, I just figured he could answer the question because I think he knows.
Well, thanks.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
So then we look at, so when we go down and we built Stevens Road, brand new road, right? I'm sure you all know about it, down by the town center. We cut 2 inches out of the concrete bridge of that thing because it's built 2 inches over the line. I don't understand that. I really don't grasp it. How many open projects, maybe this is a question no one will answer, how many open road projects do we have that are open, like the Carver Bridge, that aren't done? I don't think Barlow Zimmerman's closed. Can someone answer that question, how many open road projects we have?
If you give us those questions in advance of this meeting, every one of these commissioners at minimum would have the answer for you.
So I have one more thing.
Sure.
Strawberry Lane. You know anything about Strawberry Lane?
I know where it is.
So my question is, you have gaping gaps in the ultra block wall. The fabric is holding the road. I could literally go down there with any of you guys with a $1 razor knife and that road would collapse because the fabric is holding the road. I've never seen anything like it.
You can bet that's going to be checked on today.
Yeah.
Seriously.
We'll make that happen.
Because that's, when people come and talk to us about this kind of thing and tell us about, it's an allegation right now, but we want to make sure that you are right and, or we are wrong. So it'll happen today, Brian.
Okay.
All right? And Commissioner Smith.
Thank you for attending Monday night, the River Advisory Committee, whatever it is.
Regional wastewater capacity.
Yes, John and I were there. There's so many names of so many committees, it's hard to keep track. I was pretty much appalled at the behavior of that committee. They know they are advisory only. They know they will not be making the ultimate decisions, but I think it was a platform for some of the members to raise outrageous accusations of what's being done and not being done. This board is committed to moving forward on new technology or new improvements, not new technology, new improvements to make sure our sewer system is whole, it is adequate for our future growth, and that we do not head to a moratorium. and there was a couple gentlemen there that made some accusations that were unfounded. The most outrageous things I've heard, and I think the only reason that one of them even said those things is because John and I were in the audience. I just laughed. I mean, that was better entertainment than I've seen in a long time. And if that board wants to continue in the current outrageous manner if they behave, well, why do we need them? I mean,
That's my question.
well, like I said, we're moving ahead on this. We're not going to be detoured. I think we understand now, I don't want to speak for all the board, but delay after delay isn't working, and I think maybe it's some of those people's intentions to delay governance and to make the systems fail, and then it will be blamed on us. But we're not going to allow that to happen. And governance really isn't an issue because it's codified in law. And we're going to continue to govern our sewer and wastewater systems in the most efficient, lawful, and best manner that's really in the marketplace. So thank you for bringing those concerns.
Commissioner Savis?
Well, I have concerns with that as well, and I got to remember, we all have to remember it's a district, and the sanctity and the purpose of what districts are all about is very focused, and in this case, it's wastewater. I should bring to our attention, and it seems like the committee's work or attention, or at least their activity in some of the motions that have been made, have veered away from the actual mission or the charge of the committee, the purpose of the committee. And I think if we get back to the purpose of what we're trying to accomplish, that's where their value really is, and that's where we really need their input. So I've always been an advocate of public involvement and advisory committees, but their charge has got to be focused. It can't be, I call mission creep, it can't be creeping into other things that have nothing to do with delivering the regional project we're trying to deliver to satisfy those needs. And I think at some point we need to realize our responsibilities and take our districts back, so to speak, from the aspect of is at least getting our advisory committees focused on what our mission really is. And it doesn't matter if it's wastewater or it's libraries or it's a park district. We're trying to provide services to those citizens. And coming from a background of special districts, what I really loved about it is we had one purpose: what was in the best interest of the district for the charge of what we were elected to do. And hopefully we can bring that back, and I appreciate the board's support on moving forward. As Tootie kind of alluded to, we're going to move forward on the capacity needs, and the years of deferring that responsibility has slowed us down, and I think we could have acted long ago and saved millions of dollars, but by dragging these projects on for such a long time, we're running up against a capacity issue right now. So I appreciate the board's support, and I think we're kind of united on that as far as moving forward with the purpose of what the regional committee is, and that's addressing our capacity needs.
Commissioner Bernard?
I agree with you. Also, I think advisory committees are very important, but in the end, we are responsible. And they need to know, and I'm sure I assume they did, that in the end, it's us who are responsible. None of them have the control or should have the control over a system that, frankly, they all gave up. Milwaukee gave it up, and our job is to do what's best for the county, and that's what we're doing. I also agree on the money for roads. And I think that John, and specifically, wanted to remove the word safety, because, paving roads improves safety, yes, but the purpose is to pave roads. And that's my goal. That money won't be spent for anything else. Ditch repair, and all those other things, they're already funded. And so that money, the $5 million, will go directly to paving roads, nothing else.
Yeah, the word safety has been removed from the question we're sending to voters. With our full intent, again, our promises, this goes on the road. We have, as Commissioner Bernard said, other funds for doing ditch cleaning, brush clearing, et cetera. Commissioner Savis?
Yeah, one other thing. So the road you're referring to is Monterey, not Stevens, right?
Okay.
That new road? Okay. So, on that note, and as far as, and I forgot to say this, as far as the bridge, Strawberry Lane, and the other project, Barlow Zimmerman, and a meeting we just had with some of our field crew, which I thought was really a great meeting. It seems to me that we need to have some kind of a opportunity or a committee where there's a little bit more communication between people like yourselves that are in the industry and some of our field staff that are actually out there on the ground, that we ought to have some kind of a means to communicate some of the things or issues that are being spotted in a comprehensive way so that, again, I don't want to create a committee for the sake of creating a committee, but there's some of these issues that maybe should have a little bit greater attention brought towards them. So maybe that's something we could talk about, having some kind of oversight, especially on this road thing. If we're going forward with roads and we're trying to build the trust and we're asking voters to, and we're committing to voters that we're going to spend these dollars for these particular purposes, I think having an oversight committee made up of constituents and professionals in the private sector would be a good means of getting the greatest efficiency and showing everyone that we're trying to be as honest and straightforward about this as possible. And actually, under Commissioner comments, I was going to talk about our Clackamas County core values and our MFR, our goals for a strategic plan about building trust through good government, but I'll save those comments for later.
The, one last comment, the road situation is, you know, in our county is not desperate yet, but it can be very soon unless we pay close attention to the financial needs the same. But as far as the Regional Wastewater Capacity Group, you know, Brian, each of these groups operates with a set of bylaws, and they have a certain charge, and their charge is to address the capacity needs in the districts. That last meeting, they had nothing to do with that. And from here forward, I'll be encouraging them to stay on task according to their bylaws and the question put before them, because I had never seen, you know, you often appoint these boards, and they really don't usually tee off on the people who appointed them. Everybody got a shot in that night. Everybody did.
Just one last thing, but you understand when I talked to you about this a few months back, this is what's been going on. You just haven't been there to see it.
Oh, we've heard about it, believe me.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Another Mr. Johnson. Yes, sir.
Yes. Thank you for hearing my comment. My name is Steve Johnson. I'm a Democratic candidate for governor. I come before you today, as I intend to do before all the county's commissions in our state. You are the second I have spoken to this week. Washington County was the first on Tuesday. Yes, I am familiar with the OAC. And I have decided to personally appear to each commission because I believe the counties are Oregon. And what happens in Harney County happens to all the counties. And because my appearance does emphasize how seriously I believe the time has come for a state-sponsored counties Congress be called to create policy on how we, as a state, relate to you, the counties, and the federal government over the ownership, possible future ownership, control of, preservation of, and exploitation of those lands within the borders of our great state. The county is often, as we've seen in Harney County and in Malheur County a few weeks before that, in the state's contact with the federal government. Delegates to this Congress, appointed or elected by the counties, would meet once a week for 8 hours, then return to the counties for consultation with the county over the remainder of the week. And over 10 weeks, with dialogue leading to collaboration and eventual consensus on land use within our state. And I want to thank you for the segue in that video. We would confidently unify our response and inform our actions with the federal government. The elephant in the room is two equal rights. These lands belong to us all, to you and to me. To put this debate we saw recently in Harney and Malheur counties into simple terms is the tension between two givens. Given one is, we must preserve. Given two is, this land we must exploit. Can I continue?
Yeah, go ahead.
Both are valid and both are equal before the law. I am confident both givens can be protected through dialogue, leading to collaboration, leading to consensus. And I'd like to add one other thing. Clackamas County was my home county from birth to age 14. So you guys have a very special place in my heart.
What part did you grow up in?
Eagle Creek.
I've fished that creek a bunch.
My great-grandfather had a place, 160 acres, just above Bonnie Lure, and sold part of it to my grandfather. My grandfather was a dry land farmer, and he never had running water in his house.
Wow.
And I was privileged to be driving his Fordson tractor at age 4, sitting on his lap. So like I say, counties are a special, special part of Oregon. They are Oregon, combined. And I think this is outside the OAC because of its serious nature, the nature of which we are facing, and it is critical in my estimation, because we're going to have this conversation that we had in Harney County over and over until we come together.
Commissioner Bernard?
I just had a question. Forgive my ignorance. What's OAC?
The organization of
Oh, the AOC.
the Association of Oregon.
It's AOC.
AOC.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you, both Mr. Johnsons.
Thank you.
Mr. Krupp.
I did get an email from Mr. Mike Besner regarding Strawberry Lane. I thought it'd be useful to share that information
do.
while Mr. Johnson is present.
See how
So-
quick we are, Brian? Does this feel good? We're getting you an answer right away. And if in advance of the meeting you would have let us know, we probably would have had this answer for you then, too.
Yeah, so what Mr. Besner shares with me is that the Strawberry Lane project is an ODOT project. They're building the project, that the walls have large gaps. We have told ODOT that they must fix the walls before we accept them, and they owe us a plan as to how they are going to fix them, which we've not yet received. So hope that's helpful.
Well, that's just one aspect of the project.
Well, it was the one you're addressing, I think. And also, the Carver Bridge, although is supervised by Clackamas County, we are not the contractor, and therein lies the concern. I'll just say that. Okay? Good. We're getting things done here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is one short agenda, and subject to the commissioner's time, it may be our shortest one. Oh, I don't know if we're going to make it now. We had a shorter one. But it is time for the consent agenda, and I'll ask the clerk to read the consent agenda by title.
Okay, the consent agenda. Under Health, Housing, and Human Services, approval of Amendment Number 2 to the agency service contract with Northwest Family Services for Family Resource Coordination Services. Under Elected Officials, approval of previous business meeting minutes. And under County Counsel, approval of a quitclaim deed to release interest in a storm water detention easement, Overlook Subdivision Lot 7, Plat number 3348, and that concludes the consent agenda.
And you will confirm, and you've been here a long time, that's the shortest consent agenda we've ever had,
That's the
correct?
shortest, yes.
Well, anybody want to remove any of the items stated? I'll entertain a motion.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Bernard, seconded by Commissioner Schrader. Further discussion? All right, Mary?
Commissioner Bernard,
Aye.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader,
Aye.
Commissioner Savas,
Aye.
Chair Ludlow.
Aye, passes 5-0. It's time for the county administrator update.
I've got at least a half hour available to kind of go.
Taking that now.
I actually have some interesting pieces of good news. One is, last week the state released a new study that identified regions that are susceptible to landslides. It got quite a bit of media coverage. And in that study, the Oregon Department of Geology and Mineral Industries, which is affectionately referred to as DOGAMI, cited a 2013 Clackamas County landslide hazard and risk study as a statewide model for addressing this critical need. So the county partnered with DOGAMI several years ago to make that initial study a reality, and it's fair to say that we're ahead of the curve with respect to this kind of planning process, and I just wanted to express some kudos to our emergency management department and also our planning staff for having such a forward-looking approach in the work that they do here. And the next item I have is, and I know there are lots of different opinions about marijuana in the community, but I wanted to share with you a positive comment from a local business owner. David Groner is the CEO of a company called Oregon Green Organics, and he runs a farm outside of the county that caters to the needs of medical marijuana patients. He is opening up a business in Clackamas County, and he said this about Robert Hickson, who's a civil engineering associate in our Transportation and Development Department. He said, Robert's vast knowledge and professionalism was extremely helpful due to the difficulty I have in understanding property issues. He is very adept at explaining terms in a way that made it easy for me to understand. I can't express enough how thankful I am to have had his help. I am looking forward to working with and having a business in Clackamas County. And so no matter where folks land on the marijuana issue, it's good to know that folks, no matter what kind of business they may be in, are receiving good customer service from our staff over in Transportation and Development. So I want to thank Mr. Groner for sharing his comments, but also especially thank Robert for doing such an excellent job. And the other thing I wanted to share is that we're taking advantage of a 50% matching grant from the Energy Trust of Oregon. Water Environment Services has installed state-of-the-art technology to help eliminate odors along the Willamette River near the former Blue Heron paper mill. West staff just installed something called a Solar Bee unit, which is a solar-powered mixer that improves water oxygenation, which helps to eliminate odors and provides other environmental benefits. The device replaces an older mixer, and the switch will result in an annual energy savings of more than $20,000 per year. So way to go, Wes, for doing that. Nice job. And then lastly, I wanted to speak to, as you all know, the Public Health Division was involved last week in assisting residents who were potentially exposed to hepatitis A in Sandy. And our public health staff hosted 3 opportunities for the public to come by to a clinic and to receive proper medication. We had some 232 people who received treatment that they needed. And this effort really could not have happened without the help of our partners, Legacy Medical Group, Adventist Health, Providence Health and Services, along with local pharmacies and healthcare providers. I also want to especially thank the City of Sandy for the assistance they gave in helping to facilitate this as well. And I have one more item I wanted to share with you. I just received yesterday from our Business and Community Services Department a study that I had asked them to conduct regarding the economic benefit of Oregon City serving as a county seat for Clackamas County. And I've received the final version of that report. I'm going to forward it to you a little later this morning. It has some very good words and good news to say about the economic impact that we have for our presence here in Oregon City, the report concludes that the presence of the county seat here helped to temper the economic impacts of the recession here in Oregon City. It identifies the total net economic value of our presence here, and it even identifies the fact that our presence here helps to support traded sector activity here in Oregon City, not just the non-traded sector part. I'm going to suggest that it'd be helpful to have a study session sometime in the near future to go through the details of this, because I think it's really worth sharing.
Are we going to share that with the city of Oregon City?
I will certainly do that too.
I'll bet
so,
you will.
Yes.
Great.
I think we should do a billboard. I do.
It's time for Commissioner Communication. We'll start with Commissioner Schrader.
Okay, and I just wanted to ask our administrator, so we're going to be forwarded that report today? Pretty
Yes.
much? Oh, great, looking forward to it. So colleagues, I'm going to start out with my arts and culture activities in the county, or our arts and culture activities in the county, so I think we can pull that up on the screen. There we go. Lakewood Theater Company, Bullshot Crumman, The Evil Eye of Jabbar, and The Invisible Bride of Death. This is an action-packed B-movie adventure. Explodes on the stage as British hero Bullshot Crumman once again pits his dull wits against arch-enemy Otto von Bruno with the help of high-speed planes, trains, and automobiles, plus a rocket car, a tram steamer, and flying carpet thrown into the fun mix. Friday and Saturday, March 4th and 5th at 7:30 p.m., and Sunday, March 6th at 7 p.m. at the Lakewood Center for the Arts in Lake Oswego. I have a ticket, and we'll have an opportunity to meet with actually the actors afterwards, colleagues, which is going to be really, really fun.
Stage.
It's really, it's really very cool and very fun, and I have promised my Lakewood friends that I will work with them to get them connected to all of you folks, as well as all the mayors in our county, because they are a really wonderful regional theater. Okay, at the hearth of the Cross Races, a conversation with author Melinda Jett. Acclaimed author Melinda Jett takes a magnifying glass to the traditional Oregon settlement story and details a biracial French Indian community whose existence challenged the notions of racial exclusion, social separation, and white supremacy. Well, that sounds very, very interesting. Friday, March 4th, 7 to 8 p.m. at our own Museum of the Oregon Territory here in Oregon City. And for more information about any event, go to the Arts Alliance website, clackamusalliance.org. And with that, colleagues, I'm just going to I gave a brief report of the National Association of Counties Conference. I want to thank all of you for holding down the fort so I could attend that particular conference and do some good work for our county. I'm chair of the Economic and Workforce Development Committee, Subcommittee meeting, and we had a chance to meet with and talk to the ex-M Bank Speaker Fred B. Hochberg. And the reason why this is important for us in this county is that our economic development folks have an export initiative they've been working on. We're going to be having a delegation here from China on March 24th. And with the reauthorization of these monies for the Export-Import Bank, it allows those businesses to access resources that can move them out from just being a local business to start coming into that international and national traded sector space. So that was really, really good. We also heard from Select USA, and Select USA is the world's premier business location, and they provide easy access to federal-level programs and services related to foreign direct investment. So not as well, we're also talking about investing in other countries, not just investing in the United States, another business connection with that. One of the other things I had the opportunity to do was to chair a conversation entitled Second Chances, Safer Counties, Workforce Development and Reentry. Clackamas County was featured nationally as a workforce board in a county that is working with folks who have been incarcerated to help them transition out and not go back to jail. This is something that I know my colleague, Commissioner Bernard, has been working on for a long time. Because I'm the liaison to our workforce board, I had an opportunity to look at it from the workforce perspective. And we, again, were mentioned in an article, and it's great that the work we do in this county is now getting recognized nationally. I also attended the Rural Action Caucus Steering Committee meeting, and that has been an important piece of what we do here, since we have a big sections of our county that are rural. We're a unique county in that we deal with urban and rural issues. And so I've had an opportunity to learn what it takes to get rural communities up and running with good jobs and economic development. We heard from basically the USDA and the Farm Bill, and basically they are reserving 10% of funding appropriated to specific programs for projects that support the implementation of strategic economic and community development plans across areas. So this is a tool that our local rural communities can use to hopefully access federal dollars to jumpstart their economic development in their towns. And then we heard from the Department of Commerce, and the topic was creating innovative ecosystems and rural economic development. So I tried to do work for both our urban areas and our rural areas as I was there. It was a great trip. I was able to talk to Senator Merkley and Senator Wyden specifically on the Willamette Falls Legacy Project and Unlock the Locks, which Commissioner Smith has also been very, very involved in. And because of her efforts and her visits to DC, as well as I hope my current efforts, that is moving along nicely. We met with some of the head folks at the Army Corps of Engineers, and we are coming closer and closer to the locks piece. And we are coming closer and closer to making sure that the Willamette Falls Legacy Project gives access to the falls and becomes an economic engine for our region. So thank you, and I hope I didn't make the meeting longer than it should have been, but there we go.
Thank you. Commissioner Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, we were on a tour Saturday, Martha, with Senator Merkley. He came out to see the Willamette Falls for the first time and took a tour of the Blue Heron Mill site. And it was very fun and very interesting. We had some good people there. And through that, Ed Hall of Senator Merkley's staff is very interested in our housing needs. And so I've trying to set up a tour with him to view our 3 sites, our 3 20-acre sites, and how we want to repurpose and reinvest on those and move forward. And I'll let you all know if you want to go on that with us. You know, it's really up to you guys. Saturday night, after the Falls tour, some of us attended the Cambie Chamber of Commerce dinner and auction, and it was a very fun time. I was delighted. You know, oftentimes we don't get a chance to laugh and just be regular people, but it was a very fun group. It was very well done. The food was good, and hopefully they made some money.
And Commissioner, didn't they tell our table to quiet down?
They did.
Really?
They did.
That means you're having fun.
That means we're having fun. That's right. So that's that's really nice. Well, I've spent a lot of time at the legislature during this short session on behalf of Clackamas County. There were some interesting things that came up in this session. First of all, they all agreed that we would not have any transportation bills, but yet, lo and behold, TriMet came up with House Bill 1510. That died, but I think it'll be back next session with some transportation projects. That bill was very controversial, to say the least, but it died. Some good news, however, in this short session, Clackamas County was allocated through the co-chair's budget $500,000 for the disposition study and repairs of locks. And that was a big success for us, so our group is moving forward with that. I think it's remarkable we achieved that kind of success in a very short session, but it shows that the legislature and the region as a whole and the state support what we're doing here at the Falls Locks on the Willamette River, and I'm very thankful for that. Thank you, everybody, for the birthday wishes that I received here at work. It's very nice. I will be leaving on Friday and have a long weekend at the coast with friends to get rested, to gear up for what I'm sure is going to be an arduous and long campaign season. So, thank you all.
Thank you. Commissioner Savas.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, as kind of reflecting on our discussions we've been having with our purpose and our discussions on roads especially, and how we can kind of guarantee to our, as best we can, to our voters when it comes to supporting our road funding. What comes up a lot is really issues that surround all about trust. And you know, a couple things that we've done, some really good work we've done as a commission is, and had unanimous support for, is our board goals. And one of them, you know, build public trust through good government. And I think I read some of that last week. And it's such a valuable thing. And as we hear things of other governments where trust is somewhat compromised, you know, that reflects on all government, whether it's Clackamas County or it's a state of Oregon or something in the federal government or another state altogether. It's when someone goes awry or goes astray, it kind of reflects on government officials everywhere. But the other one that we did this year I thought was really valuable was our Clackamas County core values. And we call it SPIRIT, and each letter, you know, S for service, P for professionalism, I for integrity, R for respect, and I for individual accountability, and T for trust. I won't read them all, but I want to focus on the trust. And it reads this way: trust. In all our actions, we, and it's bulleted, we will remain approachable and objective. Number 2, in all our actions, we will declare our intentions. Third, in all our actions, we address issues honestly and directly. And the one that rings true, at least recently for me, is in all our actions, we right our wrongs in good faith. And we inherit a lot of stuff as we come here. I mean, things happen for one reason or another prior to us being here, and all of a sudden it boils over, and it's upon us to rectify it. And I do appreciate the board's support on recognizing that. And when you look at the board packets we have for our policy sessions on Tuesday, you know, the staff usually tries to identify how this meets the objectives of our strategic plan. And sometimes I think I wonder if we should have something in there for trust, you know, just as a reminder from time to time that we try to do the best. Maybe in our own daily work, we all respect that, we all value that, and I don't question that from any of us whatsoever. But sometimes maybe we don't completely realize how that may be perceived by others in our actions. And whether it's the voters' intention or the voters' will. And the discussion we had last week at our business meeting, I really appreciate us kind of coalescing, having a 4-0 vote. I'm sure Martha would have been a supportive vote, but she was in Washington, D.C. But, you know, getting that ballot language correct and honoring what our folks want in order to build that trust. And, you know, it's a currency of good government. And I appreciate the support we've had for both those documents, and the staff that does their best, and even heard from staff this morning that want to do that. They want to strive to see all our actions represent Clackamas County in the best light, and I value that, and I know we do. But it's always worth remembering, and this is something that's posted on our website as well. But again, trust is, I believe, is a currency of good government, and we need to do everything we can to strengthen that, regardless, because some of the actions and things that happened before we ever got here, I think perhaps in some people's minds, especially when it comes to roads and investments, you know, we need to build that always. It's like advertising in business. You always need to advertise, and you need to advertise what you do and why you do what you do, and your product. And our product is good governance, good decision making on behalf of our citizens. And that's what I have today.
Commissioner Bernard.
So on the messes, you know, I think that we're all committed to cleaning some of those up. You know, in the old days, lots of things happened that, you know, we were left with not raising rates to cover costs of redevelopment just because they didn't want to raise rates. But I think that we're working on that, and I mean, my goal when I leave here is to not have any messes behind. But you find out every day there's something you didn't know about. But it has nothing to do with things we did. It has things to do with maybe what happened long before we got here. There's some crazy contracts we have with Parrot Creek, for example, that I think need to be fixed, and we're working on them. And I've been working on them since I got here. But, we've done a lot. I'm pretty proud of what we've done. I had my brother visited from Nantucket. I actually had an opportunity to share a birthday with him on Monday, probably the first birthday I've shared with him in 50 years. Wow. He moved to New York when he was 8 after graduating from college and has lived out east ever since. So it was great to have time with him, and he came in Saturday, so I couldn't really go to that chamber event. Don took my place, and I noticed he spent some money, so they appreciate that, a guitar. And then I would have liked to have gone to the meeting on Monday night. I had planned on it, but I also had some oral surgery and did not feel like getting up that day much. I think I slept all day. I had an opportunity to go to a retirement from somebody from Technology Services, and it felt like such a great family there. I was just so impressed. The Daves are like, the comments and the things it's fun. I mean, and from what some of those people started with doing beta testing down at Big Blue when the giant flood came and the water went up 8 feet and they had their computers up on tables because they heard it was going to go up 2 feet or something, and a lot of that stuff was lost, and that building still sits there. But for a while, they worked upstairs until the mold got so bad they could no longer do that. Marijuana committee, one thing we were going to look at the fences, but it'd be great at about 6 months to have those folks get together and tell us, how are we doing? Are there things we need to look at? And I know we've heard from one person who bought some property, and I don't know if that's been resolved or not, and found out that he had to pay all these fees to convert it from an old use to the current use, and I think people ought to know that before they buy the land, and that's some of their responsibility too. And back to one thing Martha said, that I mentioned this before. I went to a mental health public safety conference, and Clackamas County was described as the gold standard for mental health and community correction partnership. And I was very, very proud to sit there because we have really done that. It started with Cindy Becker and her partnerships with the Sheriff's Department, and that has just grown to the creation of the Transition Center and other partnerships like the Family Justice Center. We are doing some incredible work, and we need to be behind those things that we do as much as we possibly can. So I'm hoping that we can do 11, so I'm done. Thank you very much.
Dog.
Oh, dog, thank you.
Man, fall
You'd
down on your
have to
job there.
staple this to my head. So, this is Charlotte. She's a sweet senior citizen seeking a home for her retirement years. Willamette View has nice places. She is gentle and devoted. A long daily walk will keep her in shape and keep her keen nose on alert with all kinds of scents. She hopes she is the dog for you. Please go visit Charlotte today at the Clackamas County Dog Shelter, and they can be reached at 503-655-8628 or www.clackamas.us/dogs. So thank you, Charlotte.
Thank you. I'd like to always say a little bit of what we've done the previous week. We met and had an update on the Madrone Wall. Now, the Madrone Wall is actually going to be a new park. It's a property that's been held by Clackamas County for a great deal of time, as once they thought they were going to make a gravel pit out of that, at which that time they had a great deal of protest because it's a very unique rock feature about 100 feet tall, and rock climbers, both beginners and experienced ones, like that wall and wanted to preserve that. And they have raised, in a true spirit of public-private partnership, over $50,000 to help make that so. In addition to that, the Corps of Army Engineers will be coming in and building the roadway and the parking area. So I'm real excited for that to occur. It will not be open year-round because of nesting peregrine falcons, but otherwise it will be open to the public, and I think it'll be a very unique place in Clackamas County, adding to our many unique and gorgeous places to visit. We had a housing update, which Commissioner Smith is greatly involved in. We have a bold proposal by our staff. We now have, I think it's 400 units, and they're talking about replacing those on a 4-to-1 basis, which is quite aggressive and certainly altruistic, but we hope that they have great success and will work towards that. This week we also, we hope, finalize the final agreement on the alterations at Highway 219 and what's known as the Dundee Bypass in Yamhill County, because it was setting itself up like it would be a feeder onto Wilsonville Road. And if you've ever driven Wilsonville Road, try it in the summer. It's very gorgeous and always in the daytime, but otherwise it's a very dangerous stretch. And finally, the 4 entities of City of Newburgh, City of Wilsonville, and the counties of Yamhill and Clackamas have agreed with ODOT on an alteration that'll lessen the impact on Wilsonville Road. The Cambie Chamber Gala event was mentioned, and it was a lot of fun, real laid back. Like Tootie says, you know, in this position, when we travel around, we're always supposed to have such great decorum. It's nice to let down your hair and laugh with friends, and we certainly did that night. Went to the MAPIT meeting the other night. One of the subjects that was on the agenda, and the reason I was asked to come, was the concern over the Gladstone Library. This board will be doing something very soon in defining and clarifying the future of the Gladstone Library. And I'll tell you a little bit more about opportunities to talk about that here in a moment. So we have tonight the Clackamas County Coordinating Committee, also known as C4 meeting. Clackamas County Business Alliance meeting is this next week. And an interesting West Side Economic Alliance board on the effects of marijuana on the business community. I think that'll be very interesting. And so I'm glad that they're hosting that this next week. We have the announcement of our first, this calendar year, Clackamas County Town Hall, set for March 30th in Oak Grove. We'll hold our first one Wednesday, March 30th at Riverside Elementary School in Oak Grove, starting at 6 p.m. The public is welcome and encouraged to attend. This event is an opportunity for all county residents, stakeholders, to ask any questions about any subject directly to the Clackamas County Commissioners, understanding, of course, that we may not have their answers at hand. Attendees are free to pose any questions, any topics. Some of the topics given were road maintenance, the library, and Willamette Falls. These, again, provide great accessibility to their commissioners, but they should always remember that we are available at 10 a.m. On 3 Thursdays of the month, and also at our evening business meeting, the 3rd Thursday at 6 p.m. In this next month, because of what the Commission believes is a very important fundraising event, we will not be holding an evening meeting. Is that correct, Mary? What's that?
In April.
Yeah, next month. I said next month. So next month, we will not be holding an evening meeting, so you might note that, because I know that the public does like to come sometimes in the evening to talk with us, and that's why that was created. I think that's about it today. There being no further business before the Commission this day, ladies and gentlemen, 58 minutes. This meeting is adjourned.